We are not your grandmothers and grandfathers in ACP, and I know some chapters that's what I think of. We wanted to make this organization that already existed, that had a name, to see if we could make it work more effectively for justice in our community. Here about 30 plus years ago, you were a part of starting a great institution in the Memphis area called the African April Cultural Awareness Festival. And I want you to tell us how that got started, why that got started. Tell us when those dates are going to be. It usually comes right before the Easter holidays, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
And just tell us about that, and share with us anything that you think is important that we need to know, and make sure that our listeners, and we have about 5,000 followers on Facebook, and probably hundreds, if not thousands or more, that other people share with.
Absolutely.
And so people in this area depend in part on Crittenden County and ACP for its local news. They don't trust the local paper. And I said, don't be mad at them. They try to protect their interests. Don't be mad. Just start your own. Build your own. Stop fussing and arguing with other folks about what they're doing. That's what African April. You had Memphis in May.
Right.
So rather than get angry with the Memphis and May people about not including what we wanted included, start your own. Talk to us about that.
Okay, stop complaining what people won't do for you, do something for yourself.
There you go.
Well, I had been involved with the NAACP, Walk with Martin Luther King, been with Jesse Jackson in Memphis and the lawyers and boycotting and going to the Black Studies Conference and to Africa. And my wife and I, my wife Yvonne Acey is the Associate Director of African April.
And she's also a Memphis school system educator.
Absolutely.
Probably 35, 40 years.
40 years, and was the president of the Teachers Association, and had well educated. I had to give her a props. Went to Lemoyne.
You probably couldn't do any of these things
without she's the wind beneath my sails. Because you couldn't do anything without her. Yeah, just to be honest and truthful. Yeah, it's a team. It's teamwork. And she had been to UCLA and 3 hours away from a PhD in English and African studies. Anyway, she's very powerful. And we started talking after we went to one Black Studies conference, and the question was raised, why wasn't African-American children learning at the same pace as whites? First, we wasn't identified in the body of knowledge that we were studying. It was all about white folk. And how can we get our people, African Americans, into their history and culture like other ethnic groups? The Italians got a festival, the Greeks got a festival, the Jewish people got a festival, Chinese people, the Indian, all Irish, everybody got a festival. Well, why? Because culture is important. Culture is to a people what water is to a fish. If you take a people out of culture, take a fish out of the water, what happens to the fish?
It'll die.
It'll die. So if you take people out of the culture, what happens to the people? They die.
They die. Their life outcomes.
Well, they die spiritually, mentally, education, knowledge about self. Self-knowledge is important. So one thing I used to teach in my class, we've all been victimized by this educational system. My first year, from 1st through 12th grade, all they taught us was about what white people did. Nothing about Africa.
Same here.
Same everywhere. So what happens with that is that you have somebody else's mind inside your head, which means you're out of your mind. Because you got somebody, okay.
You got somebody else's mind inside
your head. Which
means you're out of your mind.
You're out of your mind.
Oh, man.
So our job was to put you back in your right mind. And the way we do that is teach you about your history and culture. That'll get you back. We're like freshwater fish been put in salt water. And once you put a freshwater fish in salt water, he loses his balance. He's not agile, he loses direction. But if you take that freshwater fish out of the salt water, put it back in freshwater, he begins to swim, his color will come back. He will grow and develop mentally, psychologically, spiritually, and everything once they learn the culture and practice it. You have to practice what you know. You don't just know it, you have to practice it. You have to wear the African clothes. You have to talk about Africa. And you can't lead where you don't go. You can't teach what you don't know. So once you find out about you, then you become in charge of yourself. So that's the first process of moving forward. 1986, 33 years ago. So we went down, so my wife said, we just sitting there talking and said, what are we going to do? Let's start a festival. So we're going to trick black people into their culture. We like to dance. They like clothes. They flashy. And we know everything started in Africa, you know. So she said, well, let's call it, when we going to do it? So that's Memphis in May. She said, well, let's do it in April. I said, that's good, April, that's a good year. So then it's a cultural festival. We're going to celebrate an African country each year. And she said, well, what are we going to call it? She said, well, let's call it Africa in April, Cultural Awareness Festival. That was the whole idea. Sure. I said, fantastic. Now, if you know anything about letters and numerology, our last name starts with an A. Africa starts with an A. April starts with an A. And that's when everything is being born and coming into being. So it's a perfect match. Africa in April, Cultural Awareness Festival. So we go down on Beale Street, 5 of us, 1986, with our African clothes on and some drums. So this is the African Festival, African April.
Started from there.
Started with no money, no anything but the idea. And what you learn...
And you know, that's important for the listeners to understand, is that you start with a vision. You don't start with
yeah,
money.
The vision. Oh, yeah,
Money
yeah.
is a tool.
It's just a tool.
The vision
the vision
is it.
Is it. Is it.
And without the vision, we would...
perish.
So, okay.
Yeah. So that was the whole idea, was to build this house, if you will, cultural house for our people. Yes. And we started, very humble. We met at Lemoyne, didn't have an office, didn't have any money, but the idea is money. See, people don't understand that. Idea is money.
That's your capital.
That's the capital.
Yes,
that's
sir.
the capital. So we just continued and been consistent. And every year we got more and more people joining. Still didn't have any money. But we didn't have an office. So Lemoyne, wherever we could meet, we met. But we galvanized that organization and finally moved and got our 501(c) and began to pull more people into the organization.
You stay consistent.
You got to be consistent.
You got to stay consistent.
See,
you got, no matter if it's 5 people, you remain consistent.
Yeah, you got to keep your eyes on the prize.
Yes.
See, the prize was to build a house. And we got $5,000 from Mayor Hackett. And there were some people in the committee, you know, all of them don't have the commitment you have. And they said, well, we're going to split the money. I said, what money?
Split the money how?
Yeah, well, we need to get paid for doing this or going. I said, no. They said, well, I'm not getting nothing. It's not about the money. We're gonna build with this. Nobody's going to get paid. So right away, I know I had to get rid of him. He off the committee because all he wanted was...
By the way, we had similar problems with this.
Oh, yeah.
When we won a settlement a couple of years ago, we had people wanted to split the money.
Yeah, I mean,
and we fell out about that. And, but I'm not mad at them.
Oh, no, I'm not mad at them.
I'm glad I found out who they were.
Right. Yeah, so you have to, got to be consistent, committed, and keep your eyes on the prize. We didn't care what the other people thought about our plan. We planned to work and worked the plan. And each year we began to develop and grow, and got larger and larger and more organized, you know. Then we finally got an office and started soliciting for money with our 501(c), which was very successful, because we were very politically active and wasn't ashamed to go to the county court. They were giving away the money anyway to all the other folk. Part of that money was ours. Anyway, so we...
And say that again.
Yeah.
Part of the money is yours.
Yeah.
Because we're citizens.
And we pay taxes. We take taxpayers.
Absolutely.
And they're giving it to everybody else.
And we have a right and responsibility to go and get our fair share.
Absolutely.
Of course.
If you don't ask, you don't get. And we made no apologies about it. We did our homework.
Of course.
You know, we
saw... go down and have cops.
Oh, no, you went prepared. You went prepared. We found out how much money this group was getting, how much, all them white, none African American. So when we went into the office of the county commission, we went armed. So they said, well, I don't know how much, we can't give you much.
You make sure you went armed with ideas.
Armed with the knowledge.
Be careful because
Prepared and armed with the knowledge.
Yes.
You have to do your homework when you go to negotiate. Because you can't send nobody to the meat house, a hungry dog to the meat house to negotiate. They'll take the first bone they throw out. So you got to be prepared and knowledgeable. So anyway, we kind of convinced them that, look, you're giving Memphis in May or whatever, and we just a little organization. We just want to share. So we got the money.
Sure.
And then we built. So it's been so successful. Each year we honor an African country, and we celebrate it through the windows of the arts. music, dance, visual arts, the whole 9 yards. We have a vendors marketplace, food chambers. We have music all day, every day on the stage. Reggae, jazz, blues, gospel, spoken word, you name it.
Steel drum band.
Steel drum band that came from Trinidad.
Yes.
We had Trinidad. Oh man, and we leverage the money we had. We leverage our influence.
Yes.
You know, you give me $2,000, I'm gonna make 4 out of it.
Yes.
One way or the other. You connect with the community.
4 you make 8, 8 you make 16, 16 you make 30. After a while, you $1 million.
You $1 million. So the money gonna come.
Sure.
If you do the right thing, sponsors give you money, you tell them what you're gonna do with it, and you do it.
Sure.
These vendors you see on this pamphlet I got,
yes.
Every one of them, when they give us some money, I tell them we're gonna put them on the panel, we're gonna give them the credit for it, and we're gonna do it. I don't have to worry about it. When they come, they're gonna see it, because that's what I'm gonna spend the money for.
Well, you know, you do a number of events. I think the first day.
Oh yes, yes.
A big reception. Are you still having it out at the Holiday Inn?
Yeah, yes,
at the University of Memphis.
Yeah. Well, once we start growing. So, our corporate sponsors, we said we need to do something. I have a board too, by the way. We said let's do something for our corporate sponsors, and our African dignitaries that come to visit us from Africa and everywhere, and that way we're gonna have a luncheon. We're going to call it International Entrepreneurs Business Luncheon. And that's on the 17th of this year of April at the Holiday Inn at the University of Memphis. Each year we honor a distinguished person in our community called our Executive of the Year. And this year is Dr. Alta Stewart. Her credentials are so long. She's an African American, worked at the University of Tennessee in psychiatry, health science, and she's going to win some huge award coming up later on this year.
Now, will she be at that?
Yeah. Well, she just informed me that she couldn't come, but she's sending a representative. She'd be out of the country, but we still gonna honor her.
Sure.
And somebody gonna accept
now,
for
the featured nation this year. What was it last year? It was
Equatorial Guinea. Equatorial Guinea.
This year it's
Nigeria, the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The Federal Republic of Nigeria. Now,
yes.
For our people don't realize that Nigeria is the largest nation
in
on
the
African continent, close to 200 million people.
200 million people.
And it used to be, I'm not sure if they are now, they used to be the 4th or 5th largest oil producer in the world.
Absolutely still.
They still are.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
And, you know, and a lot of African Americans today can trace their ancestry back to West Africa.
Absolutely.
A lot to Nigeria.
Right.
And I found that probably 80% of Africans that I meet are from Nigeria.
Yeah. And we have a large Nigerian population in Memphis, and they're planning some big things for the festival. That's the luncheon, Entrepreneurs Luncheon. And after that, on the 18th is what we call our Vendor Setup Day. Vendors come from Africa, they come from all over the United States with their goods and services, and the health facilities come, they set up booths for free health screenings, and they sell the shea butter, everything. And the musicians come.
The musicians come.
Everything. Everything.
There was one group that used to come from Atlanta. I think they were the Black Hebrew Israelites.
Yeah.
They had the vegetarian soul
food. Yeah, right.
Are they coming this year?
Well, I don't know. I had to check with my food vendor coordinator. Yeah. We have we have a variety of food vendors as well as craft vendors. And that's our setup day on Thursday. Only the vendors come to say, oh yeah, we have a fence around it. I just give great shout out to the Memphis Police Department, Director Rollins, the Shelby County Sheriff, Bonner, and the first time in the history of Memphis we elected an African American sheriff, Brother Floyd Bonner. We're very proud of that. And we have an African American county mayor, Brother Lee Harris will be there. Mayor Jim Strickland, city mayor, will be there. Steve Cohen will be there, Congressman Cohen from 9th District. Okay. Now, Friday the 19th is our Senior Citizen Day, Children and Senior Citizen Day. Okay. And we have a major parade down Beale Street with stilt walkers, bands, everybody starting at 10 a.m. in the morning. The schools come and participate, the colleges, everybody. And the site will be open for selling and buying on Friday, from 8 a.m. in the morning to 8 p.m. on Friday. Then we come back Saturday with the Health Wellness Day with all our medical people and everything, and the Blues Showcase Saturday. Now, that's our Blues Showcase this year, we're going to bring Arrested Development. The famous Arrested Development group will be there, and it's $10, just $10 to get in on Saturday. We'll start about 6 p.m. in the afternoon. And those of you that know anything about Arrested Development, they're hot. They're a great group, and they're very Afrocentric. That's one of the groups we have.
Today they say that they are woke.
Oh yeah, they woke. They wide awake.
Conscious.
They're conscious.
They did a lot of stuff. I remember back in the 90s.
In the 90s.
They were big in the 90s.
Right, absolutely, and they're still rolling.
Great.
And got great response.
And so then, of course, what about Sunday?
Sunday is our African American Music Day. We have music every day, but we have gospel. We're going to have reggae, jazz, blues, spoken word, all the genres of music, all day, every day, as well as the marketplace. And the King and Queen of Togo will be here, they confirmed. The King of Benin will be here, and his wife, and the ambassador from Togo will be here at the festival.
I can remember the first year we had it, and one of the first years that we had it, and I asked some of the students, I said, have you ever seen an African? And they looked around and said, let me show you an African. They look, where's the one, where's the one? And I'd hold up a mirror in front of their face. Matter of fact, one year, when the delegation from Kenya was here, I picked up a group and brought them over here. Matter of fact, the lady's name is Ludi, and brought them over here to West Memphis, and we brought in a lot of children. And our theme was, how many people have seen an African? I said, how many Africans in the room? And nobody would raise their hands. And when we got through talking to them about the greatness of Africa, I said, how many Africans in this room? Every child in hell.
Right. That's the knowledge.
They were excited about being African.
Knowing self. Jewish people, you don't have to beg them to put that little hat on their head. They know the Torah, they know everything. Italians always support Italians because they've been culturally aligned. Slavery cut us off from our history and culture. That's when we got somebody else's mind inside our head. So we want to act like white people, look like white people, think they've done everything great. So when you operate out of that perspective, you always looking to somebody else to give you something.
Validate your,
you validate your
and
we're the first people on the face of the earth. That's another lecture though. You have to get out there and do what you got to do, regardless of the consequences. And if you know you're right about it, even if you lose your life, it don't make no difference. Martin, you take Martin. We talked about Martin. Martin wasn't worried about what he was doing. He knew what he was doing, but he had a faith in God. He was a minister first. He's a minister first. Then he was a civil rights leader. See, Martin was a powerful man. And he kept
a great intellect.
Great intellect.
4 books.
Great intellect. And I followed him and marched with him and had opportunity to meet him on the move, on the march. And man, you just cannot. That experience was so great to me that gave me the motivation to move on and keep going.
And then you've influenced so many other people
that
you won't ever know.
Every day. Thank you.
Matter of fact, when I was listening at you and Brother DK and the other people on the talk show here about just 2 weeks ago, I got chill bumps listening, and I said, "Well, I know these guys, but I'm listening at you as elders and as great civil rights icons, not as the person that I know." And I'm going, "Wow." This is deep because I started college just right on the heels of all of that. And so much of what people like you did made it easier for the rest of us to get. Because when I started at Arkansas, we had a Black Students Association, and we had this and that, and then eventually we got Black Studies and this and that. So, and it came from other people's struggle, and it angers me. I have to admit, it bothers me that so many people today think that. All they got to do is go to work, make a check, buy a car in the house, and go on about their business. And that does such a disservice to those people who sacrifice so much.
We're standing on the shoulders of those who came before us. And that's why I go way back in history and read Frederick Douglass, David Walker, those antebellum freedom fighters, Sojourner of Truth. Oh man, what they had to go through is nothing for me. You see, look, but you have to know that.
They have to They have to go through swamps.
Look, man,
gonna get killed
anyway.
Again, the African April festival, the festival itself, starts on
19th of.
That's Friday.
Friday the 19th of April.
What time does it start?
8 a.m. and in to 8 p.m.
8 p.m.
Saturday, we come back at 8 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Yes.
And then Sunday, we come back from 8 a.m. to about 9 p.m.
Okay.
Right behind the FedEx Forum on International Famous Bill Street in a historical African-American park, Robert R. Church Park.
Yes.
Right there in the downtown Memphis, in the heart of Memphis.
Tell the people to Google Mr. Church.
Yeah, Google Robert R. Church. Google Robert R. Church, find out who he was and what he did for the city of Memphis. And it's going to be a part of the 200-year history of Memphis, as well as the great contributions he made to this city. We should never forget that. That's why we on holy ground at the festival, and we're going to stay there as long as we can. And be sure to Google the National Civil Rights Museum, because it's about 3 blocks from the venue where we hold the festival every year. And we'll be celebrating 33 years of Africa in April Cultural Awareness Festival with over 30,000 people coming. And don't forget, Saturday night, Saturday evening, Arrested Development will be on stage live. $10, that's all.
Well, again, thank you for lending your time to come and speak to us. And I wanted the people in our listening audience here in Crittenden County to be aware of African April. I think a lot of people have heard of it, but they don't know very much about it and when it's going to be. And so now they know.
Thank you.
Coming up right before Easter Sunday. Matter of fact, the last day is on Easter Sunday.
Right. It's the third week in April during the Easter holiday.
Now y'all going to have an Easter egg hunt out there?
Well, we're going to hunt for our culture and our history and a good time, good camaraderie. Yeah. And I had a lady from Rochester, New York call me yesterday and inquire about African April. I said, are you a vendor? They said, no. Food? I said, no, we're just coming to the festival. Whoa. Yeah. Thank you. So
some people want to be immersed.
They want to come. Yeah.
I remember when we started Kwanzaa, some people from Africa, they attended. They just wanted to be a part of it.
Want to be a part of it. So, and it's growing, and it's really, we're real proud of it.
Well, you've done great work in your life, not just with African April, but other things with the Black Studies program out at the University of Memphis, as well as your work in establishing the Black Students Association and various other things that you did out there in the 60s. So we want to honor you on our show. This is I started to say Reverend. This is Dr. David Acey. And if anybody would like to contact Dr. Acey for any speeches or lectures or to consult with them on things that they might do, contact the Crittenden County NAACP. You can contact us at Shabaka50@AOL.com. You can contact us at Crittenden County NAACP@gmail.com, or you can call our office Tuesday through Friday from 11 to 4 p.m. at 870-735-1212, and I will leave you with these very beautiful words. Peace to you and your family. Yeah.
One other thing, you can visit africanapril.org, our website. And thank you very much for inviting me to be here. africanapril.org, that's our website. Any way you put it in there, you can get in touch with us.
Again, this is Race, Religion, and Politics. We discuss everything that your mama and your dad and your boss man told you not to talk about. This is exactly what we're going to talk about. Peace to everybody. We are not your grandmothers and grandfathers in ACP. And I know some chapters that's what I think of. We wanted to make this organization that already existed, that had a name, to see if we could make it work more effectively for justice in our community.